Presented by Data East.
Welcome to the final part of the Minnesota Fats Pool Legend commentary. Last part of the main portion of the 2016 Royameadow commentary lineup. Oh man, it's been a fun ride this year, ladies and gentle people, and I don't know how else to put it. This game, we're about to just end off things with the trick shot mode. So, as you can tell here, this trick shot mode is kind of similar to the one that we had in the first game, except instead of 19 shots, as that game had, we are actually doing 64. Because you see, there are 16 per session. And as a result, you end up getting a whole bunch of different lovely trick shots to go through. It's just, it's lovely. It's lovely and it's intense. But a good amount of these shots are all from the first game. The only thing is they're better to do now because you have, you just happen to have better physics at your disposal. So it doesn't feel as painstakingly difficult as it was many years ago. Or, yeah, many years ago with the first side pocket. You have better physics, you have better traction control of your cue ball. You won't feel as if you're losing your mind. And this is also one of those instances where the excellent sound is actually using PSG. One of the only instances where you hear PSG in this game aside from charging up the ball. Who would have thought? Now those bricks kind of look familiar. What do those remind me of? Oh yeah! If you ever play the original 1989 arcade version of Final Fight, I can't believe I didn't hit that wine glass. The brick walls looked like that. You know what they also looked like that? The Sega Genesis port of Pack Attack. Yeah, anybody remember Pack Attack? Very lovely puzzle game brought to you by Namcot. Yes, it was called Namcot in Japan, but it was called Namco over here in the States and Europe. Now it's Namco Bandai. When did Namco and Bandai do their merger? I noticed this had to have been after 2005, because I have honestly not known of them being Namco Bandai any time before the release of the first Naruto Ultimate Ninja, which I still don't own and have never played, by the way. I own 2, I own 3, I own the Japanese version of Ultimate Ninja 4, which has a completely different title. There's just so many, there's just so much that Namco, however, has done in recent time that I do believe that they are still a very, very worthy third-party gaming company to duke it out with. I mean, they are very good. They are still very good in what they do. Heck, the modern Pac-Man titles definitely rock. They kick anus more than the generals do. More than the general companies do. You just see things that they can create. I mean, Championship Edition DX, Pac-Man 256. I love those games. Those games rock. It brings back old concepts from the first title and just puts it on crack. It gives the Beautiful Joe feel, zooming in, making you feel the tension. Slowing down for you so that it doesn't feel as if, like when you're in danger, it allows you to get away from trouble. I like that. Not a lot of games do that. And that's just coming from, personal experience. I grew up with the old 80s games, but I grew up with the Genesis port to them because I never used to be at arcades often. The only time I ever got to play the arcade versions of Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man was whenever I'd go to Canopy Lake Park, or Good Times in Boston, and hey, it's Arlina Messersmith. That is her name, right? Yeah, Arlina Messersmith is part of the, she is part of the staff at Data East. Yes, so it's not so far-fetched that they would have her as the the "You are a real pool shark" screen. So I like that. I like that. That's nice. That's nice. You see, you can have your own team in your works and nobody can complain. It's always a fun time. It's always a fun time when you have things such as that. But we're not done with trick mode just yet. You see, there are 4 trick modes. Now you got trick part 2. Oh, and it's got the Mortal Kombat 2 Roman numeral 2 symbol. I like that. That's cool. But yeah, as I mentioned before, there are 64 trick shots that you have to deal with in this, and you unlock the next set of 16 after you complete the first set. Also, what is a nice thing is that, like, if you decide to ever replay any of the trick shots, like if you decide to hit the start button or whatever button represents the select button for entering a level, you'll be able to replay and see how that shot was done. So it's kind of a nice way to depict how each trick shot works. But I don't know if this game has an SRAM feature because I don't think it showed up when I closed out the ROM image. So I'm assuming that if you complete the trick shot mode, that's it. Once you complete the trick shot mode, after beating tournament mode and story mode, this is the end. This is all that's everything in this game is complete. So if there is no SRAM, that means that you'd have to redo this all over again if you completed the game originally. And that's kind of sad, you know. I kind of wish that there was a cheat code in which would allow you to access these things, but, you know, even in 1995, Data East probably didn't have too much dedication to this version of the game. Again, the Genesis version and the Saturn version were both being worked on at the same time. This was probably just being worked on as filler to lead into the Saturn version, because I think the Saturn version came out later than the Genesis counterpart, maybe by give or take a few months. But far as I'm aware, they were both being worked on at the same time. And so they both have proper reason to... I almost hit that wine glass there. How am I not breaking them? But yeah, that would probably explain why it just took so long for all of this to come into fruition. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's self-explanatory once you get the hang of it, or once you have all the necessary information. But I can't give you everything. I just know what I know, and... Oh, hi, Sonic Advance level complete music from Special Stage 1. Seriously. Seriously. I swear Sonic Team went out of their way to play Minnesota Fat's Pool Legend and take music from this game to turn it into other things from other soundtracks. That doesn't sound odd. I like it. I like that they did that. Now, this one is a weird shot, because you need far right angle... Wait, do I need far right English with this one? Let's see... Yep. And a max-powered shot. Now watch. Yeah. I have to go around and through wine glasses. Now, just imagine. Back in the 80s... trick shots used to be done with... You had to do it with wine glasses on the table. You had to do it with sticks. You had to do it with cue sticks. You had to do it with women hanging out, laying literally flat on the table. Fortunately, we don't have to be subjected to that here, but... if you could do trick shots like that, especially Minnesota Fat's famous railroad shot, where it basically hits 4 different balls in quick succession, goes up the pool stick and goes down another, or down a set of 2 in order to get the last ball, you indeed are a real pool shark. And also, fun fact, if you complete trick shot 2, 3, and 4, which are 2 special and final, yeah, you just get special 16-bit photography, which kind of has that vaporwave feel that I'm looking for. You know, you got your palm trees, you got your cool woman in a pink bikini. Although I'm assuming her hair's actually blonde. I don't know anybody that would ever wear their hair in that color. So now we're going into Trick Shot 3, which is Trick Shot Special. That's a very bland looking special. If I could also mention, when it comes to the Saturn version of this game, the Trick Shot mode actually just uses a selection of stages from the original game, from the original Genesis version, which means you only get 32 as opposed to 64 trick shots. But the benefit in that version is that when you complete the Trick Shot mode, you get the blooper reel, which is very fun to do. And the only way to unlock Challenge Fats mode in that is if you complete both Trick Shot modes and become the Undisputed Champion in Tournament mode. I don't know if you also need to complete Story mode alongside it, but it's better if you do. Looks like I'm taking my time with this one. Yep. I can't use the obvious joke, "that was tricky," because that's a bad pun. I mean, don't get me wrong. All these shots are very hard to do. I mean, how do you think you would do that one? Yeah, you wouldn't think to do it that way, but that's how you do it. But you want to know what the downside is to this? The downside to the Trick Shot mode in this game is that you have to be extremely precise. This game is very strict with how you do trick shots, because you can't sink in the balls in any particular order. You have to do it in a specific angle, in a specific form, with a specific amount of power. Because if you fail even once, if you duck up even one thing, especially the power by one frame, you have to redo the shot. I don't like that. You know, again, I love Trick Shot mode. Trick Shot mode kicks anus. But the second you ask me to have to do a trick shot in a specific form, with a specific speed and angle, with a specific type, whether it's drawback, follow, masse, jumping, you're asking for a little bit too much from me. But trick shots aren't all that difficult once you have the hang of it. But I would say it's probably better to do these if you have, friends around, if you have people that know what they're doing, so that you don't accidentally break anything. But, these are the kind of trick shots I would probably host at at a pool club. And the first person, the person that's able to do the most trick shots would get, a money prize. So it's good to be able to know how to do this kind of stuff, because if you do, then, well, let's just say this: you can definitely get a lot of major recognition. That's for sure. Also, fun fact, more or less because I'm not going to be playing the track when you're listening to when you're watching the Saturn version of the commentary, but the theme song that plays over the Trick Shot mode in that game is actually the Sweet Rave Party track that was used in the 1992 port of Side Pocket, which is kind of nice. I like that they remixed that track for the... Oh, that was a close one. But still, it's kind of nice that they remixed that track and made it sound even better than it already did. So yeah. Oh. Dang, don't scare me, ball. Seriously, that ball doesn't know where it's going. It's like what Hank Hill says. What I heard is not funny. What that ball on your table has is a medical disorder. You get ready for the game, okay? Yes, sir. That ball ain't right. Hank Hill. King of the Hill turns 20 on January 12th, by the way. I'm going to be doing a marathon of the first 12 episodes, or at least all of Season 1, at home base here. So, yeah, if you're in the area, feel free to watch. Feel free to watch with me. I'll be a fun time. This song sounds like it's something from, like, the 30s and 40s. Yeah, I like tracks from the 30s and 40s. In fact, I have a complete compilation of them. Now this, yeah, again, so we have another Vaporwave style photo here. Kind of looks like we're at some luxury casino hotel or something. It looks like a decent pool, too. But, on to the last portion. So now it's time for Trick Shot Final. But look at how the word final is done. Final Trick Game. The design of the word final is drawn in the same way as the Final Fight logo. I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, oh man, be very grateful that Capcom did not sue Data East for the usage of that. Oh man, that would have definitely would have killed their company way too soon. I think Data East actually got discontinued in 2003 or 4. Don't take my word for that. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, I don't think Capcom had any involvement with his discontinuation, but had they known that they were using the Final Fight logo for their Final Trick Game portion, I think there would have been some lawsuits. Things that you find out about many years after the fact. I mean, Duck, this game has been around for over 21 years, 21 and a half years, I want to say, maybe even more than that. And yet this was never discussed in any official commentary. What gives? What gives? Why was I the one that had to bring it up? It's fine, though. It's fine, though. It's all okay. Either way. Alright. Just 11 trick shots away from the end of the game. Oh, dang, that was a tough one. This was a really tough one for me to get. I mean, just having, I mean, you curve all the way up those glasses and just, oh man. And bear in mind, if you even break one thing of glass, you have to do it a second time. Now, one would normally think you'd have to do a jump here. Not the case. You have to use drawback. Alright, on to number 9. How do I do this? Yep. Yeah. So, by intentionally putting myself in harm's way, I'm able to sink both balls. And remember, these are the intended ways to do these trick shots. These are how you're exactly supposed to do them. If you do it in any other fashion, then holy duck, you found a completely new method that nobody really uses in a strategy guide, or that nobody would normally find in a strategy guide. But trust me when I say, don't try to do anything fancy with these trick shots. Worst case scenario is that you will mess up and you'll have to redo it over and over again. Again, even if you are a little tad bit off of the power level that I'm using in order to fire these shots, you'll mess up. Now, watch what's done here. So I have to go all the way around. If I did that any other way, I would have broken the glass. Last 4 shots of the game. This is another one of those put yourself in harm's way just so you can save yourself kind of scenarios. So watch what I do here. So I curve. Careful not to bank there. You're gonna miss your shot. That was not an easy one to do. Another one where I have to put myself in harm's way by curving the ball and then knocking it through the side. Yeah. Oh, can you believe that these shots are, I mean, they are painstakingly difficult to do if you don't know how to, if you don't know, like, this is going to be pixel perfect here. I've messed that up many times, but it's nothing like this last one. So let's see, gotta do proper curving. In the Saturn version, this one is actually one of the earlier trick shots, but this is the hardest one in the game. Once you're done with this, it's the end of the Genesis version, but if you do it in the Saturn, you're still on the road to victory. And, boom shakalaka! Alright, we're at the end. That's it. So we get to see Arlina Messersmith for one more time, and that's the end of Side Pocket 2 MD. We have made it to the end of the final major commentary for Royameadow and Company for 2016. Royameadow channel is pretty much all set for this year, I could say. This is pretty much all that's necessary. And we kind of get a Renegade-style ending here, although that's not Lorenzo Lamas and that's not Kathleen Kinmont. It would have done better if they were there, though. I love Renegade. It's a good series. If you haven't watched Renegade, please give it a watch sometime. You'll thank me massively later. But if I could make any final thoughts about my views on Side Pocket 2, at least the Genesis version, this is Pocket Billiards at its finest. You will never find another good game like this for a long time. You know, a good amount of the 3D games, they do their own thing, but the issue that they suffer from the most is the fact that they mostly have a 3D perspective, mostly from a first-person view. That was my complaint with Side Pocket 3, and that was also my complaint with Carom Shot 2, better known as Backstreet Billiards here in the States. I feel that a top-down perspective where you're able to see all the balls and know exactly what you want to hit and when just gives you more of the ability to have an easier perspective on your gameplay style as well as how easy you can clear the table with somebody. Can I say that, you know, games such as Straight Pool and Rotation might be harder in the top-down perspective by comparison? I wouldn't say so. I would say that this is the easiest way to play some of the more difficult games out there. That even goes for the British games. It even goes for snooker. If you have a top-down perspective, you always know what you want to go after. The only downside being that you don't have that physical experience with the stick, the balls, and the table. All you have is the computer screen and your controller to work with. So you have to know the physics of the game. You have to know exactly what this game is able to deliver in terms of basically how all the balls go, in terms of what angles you need to look for. And once you know what methods you need to do for banking or for kiss shotting or anything, really, you too can become Minnesota Fats, the legendary pool master. And through this, I could say this is the beginning of the rise of a new era for pool. Wishfully, we see more games such as this. I know I will. I know I'll make some games such as this in future time once I master how to do coding. Again, when it comes to game development, art is my hotspot. Music's my hotspot. If I knew how to code, heck, I'd rule the world. I'd either rule or own it. Nah, owning's better than ruling. Or, in some sense, ruling is okay if everybody rules alongside you in a very reasonable fashion. But other than that, that's all I've got to really say about this game for now, until the Saturn version. But, as I mentioned, for the Saturn version, Side Pocket 2 Densetsu no Hustler, or simply put, Legend of the Hustler, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session because again, that game is basically That game is basically the same game as this, give or take some extra things. So, during the tournament mode, I'm going to take some of your comments from this, and I'm going to see, I'll take some of your questions from here, and I will gladly answer them during the Saturn version's commentary in tournament mode, because, it's basically the same things as I've been seeing here, so I don't want to have to go into this too much more than I have to. So, with that said, I hope that that'll be fun. But you'll be seeing that in 2017. This is the final major commentary that I had intended to do for the channel this year. But there might actually be another one that I might do, and if it hasn't been uploaded yet, you'll probably see it. It's called The Days Before Christmas, which is, of course, a Christmas game. It involves Santa turning evil and killing the duck out of a whole bunch of bad Christmas characters. Oh, you will love that title when I get around to it. That'll be coming before the end of the year, and after that, we will then finish up the year with Roya Talk Episode 6. Roya Remembers 2016. So, wishfully, we'll see that, and, you'll have a gay old time. So, until that time, I am Roya saying, 2016's not over, but this is my semi-official signing out. So, you have a good day, and we'll see you next year. But stay tuned for the extras.